Hello. Well, I thought it's probably about time for a little update on the garden. The garden's still recovering from the trauma of last year's complete disaster when I handed it over to somebody else to look after for a year. So yeah, it's still in recovery mode really, but let's see what's going on. So the sequence goes fresh poo and squash plants. Then the second year in that bed will go potatoes. Then in the third year in that bed I'll put down loads of wood ash and we'll go brassicas. And then the fourth year everything else. So by that time the nutrients die down a bit and you can put in the root crops without them going silly. So this is the everything else bed for this year, which is a bit lacking in plants, but there you go. So my experience of the polytunnel has been pretty much positive. It's really good for bringing on seedlings, I've found. That's its best use, up here anyway. I found if I try and replant, so brassicas for instance, what I do is put them in seed trays in here. So the seeds go in the trays, they germinate really nicely in here when it's hot and humid. And after a little while they get potted up, and then when they're busting out of these pots, that's when I plant them out. So it gives all these kind of plants that you might normally direct sow, it gives them a roaring head start, I find. The surprise to me was that the polytunnel was pretty rubbish for growing tomatoes. Well, they grow really well, but they don't ripen, and I think that might be down to this cover, which you can see is quite green. And I suspect it's not letting enough actual light through to make the tomatoes ripen. So this year what I've done is grow the tomatoes in big pots, so if the weather's cool they can stay in here, but for the last month or so, once the tomatoes start to form, I'm going to stick them outside and get some sun on them. So here we have the brassica bed, and what I've been doing is putting wood ash in there from the stove that only has wood in it, so no coal or any other rubbish. That's gone in there to try and make the soil a bit more alkaline. It's a bit of an experiment for this year. So what I'll be doing is putting these up as hoops and then putting some mesh over it to stop the butterflies laying their eggs on the brassicas and hence caterpillars devouring it. This stuff is water pipe, which you can get at a farm supply centre. It's used as irrigation pipe and it's dirt cheap. It really is hilariously cheap. So setting up the mesh is a bit of a faff, admittedly, but once it's done, then the whole bed is now pretty much maintenance free. I'll water it obviously, but other than that, it's so much easier than trying to pick off the bloody caterpillars once they start hatching out. So yeah, I'm not saying do this, but I'm saying it does work for me. So there you go. Maybe something's been helpful here, or at least interesting. Or anyway, it's scorching hot now, and I'm going to go indoors before I melt. So thanks for watching. Cheers.